Venezuelan Attorney General Tarek William Saab informed on the appointment of a special prosecutor in matters of human rights to investigate Argentina's President Javier Milei and Minister of Security Patricia Bullrich for crimes against humanity. During his statements, William Saab assured Milei and his government have become a danger for the whole hemisphere based on international law. In first place, for stealing a Venezuelan plane teleSUR and kidnapping all their crew members and passengers, which involves also the simulation of criminal facts, illegal interference of internal affairs, dismantling of an aircraft, among other criminal charges. And in second place, for putting at risk peace in Argentina, whose population is under violence and suffering. For these reasons, Saab appointed a prosecutor to investigate Milei and Bullrich, since the justice system of Argentina is not taking actions in the face of the police brutality being suffered by the Argentinian people.
He is some kind of modern Gandhi, some kind of saint who likes to talk about human rights when he's becoming offending and destroying the national identity of Argentina. He's the main violator of human rights in Argentina after Guerrilla's dictatorship, the military dictatorship that attacked the South Pole and Argentina in the 1970s, 80s, etc.
After showing video footages of the repression by Argentinian police against the most vulnerable sectors of society, the Venezuelan Attorney General questioned the silence of many international organizations and accused them of double standards.
What the world says about it, the International Supreme Court and the United Nations, what do they say? The international NGOs of human rights, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Then is the double standard in matter of human rights, to use it in their favor of those who violate it massively and become the police of the world.
In Venezuela, the president of the National Assembly, Jorge Rodriguez, read the original of the document where former far-right candidate Edmundo Gonzalez reached an agreement with the Venezuelan executive and recognized the Supreme Court's final judgment that validates President Nicolás Maduro's election win. During a press conference held on Wednesday, Rodriguez revealed the information by showing the original of the document circulating in the media, signed by Gonzalez, where he recognized the constituted powers in Venezuela and affirmed that his departure to Spain is to consolidate peace and dialogue, undertakes not to represent any Venezuelan public institution abroad, and to be prudent in his appearances. In turn, Rodriguez assured that the Venezuelan government has been cautious and patient in view of the matters that have been presented about how the departure of the former presidential candidate would have happened.
Many news media and foreign governments, enemies of the free and sovereign revolution of Venezuela, insist in the idea that the National Electoral Council has not issued any result. Mr. Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia himself recognizes that the National Electoral Council issued a result on the 9th of July, the 28th.
The president of the Venezuelan parliament also said that the ex-presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez expressed in his letter his respect and recognition to the 5 constitutional powers of the Bolivarian state.
In my country, I wish to convey my respect and recognition to the constitutional institutions represented by the 5 state powers: the executive power, headed by Constitutional President Nicolás Maduro Moros; the legislative power; the electoral power, whose president is Elvis Amoroso; the judicial power, whose president is also president of the electoral chamber, Justice Carislia Beatriz Rodriguez; and the Republican moral power. That is Mr. Gonzalez Urrutia expressing his respect and recognition.
Rodriguez also said that the ex-presidential candidate Gonzalez was the one who looked for the Venezuelan government authorities in relation to his request of political asylum in Spain.
He was the one who looked for us. There wasn't any kind of pressure, as foreign agencies and sectors of the Venezuelan extremist movement have, of course, pointed out. There wasn't any kind of situation in which Mr. Gonzalez Urrutia could have felt intimidated. On the contrary, he looked for us in order to talk, and from that conversation came his decision to leave Venezuela and to request political asylum in the Kingdom above Spain, as it is established in the conventions related to asylum in the international laws, about which Venezuela is strictly respectful.
Let's now go over the content of the letter signed by former presidential candidate of the far-right Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia, an address to the President of the National Assembly, Jorge Rodriguez Gomez, in September 7th, in which he recognized the judgment of the Supreme Court of Justice regarding the contentious electoral appeal filed by President Nicolás Maduro. The letter states, "As you are aware, on August 22nd, 2024, the Electoral Chamber of the Supreme Court of Justice issued a decision in response to the contentious electoral appeal filed by the President of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro Moros, in view of the controversy arising from the electoral process of July 28, 2024. It continues, Mr. President of the National Assembly, I have always been and will continue to be willing to recognize and abide by the decisions adopted by the organs of justice within the framework of the Constitution, including the aforementioned judgment of the Electoral Chamber, which, although I do not agree with it, I abide by it, as it is a resolution of the highest court of the Republic." Gonzalez adds, convinced of the need to explore all possibilities of understanding in the supreme interest of peace in my country, I wish to convey my respect and recognition to the constitutional institutions represented in the 5 branches of government. Furthermore, he expresses, "In this context, I have decided to leave Venezuela in the coming days in order to consolidate peace and political dialogue. Consequently, being at the headquarters of the Embassy of the Kingdom of Spain in Caracas, I have conveyed in my intention to request political asylum before their government." The missive closes by informing, "I hereby state by the record my commitment that my public activity outside Venezuela will be limited. I do not intend in any case to exercise any formal or informal representation of public authorities of the Venezuelan state. I will be absolutely respectful of the institutions and interests of Venezuela, and I will always appeal to peace, dialogue, and national unity."